I am messing around. There we go. Now that's working. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Let me see if I get Joseph in. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning. Good
Oh,
morning. Konnichiwa.
yeah, konnichiwa. I see you put that on a Facebook post, which is good. I am working on my video, but it's no need. We the show still goes on until I get all that fixed right there. The show is still going on and everything. So I know you heard us talking about everything going on here in the States. We finally getting winter here in San Antonio, which
Yeah,
I need to
it's a little
do.
chilly over here too.
Yeah, I need to do two things before the week is over with. That's run out to your place and make sure the pipes and stuff are covered. Cause we got a hard freeze coming, so I'm gonna go take care of that before Friday, and cause we don't need that extra added burden. Cause I went through my pipe freezing the last freeze we had, and it was not nice. It flooded my whole. Matter of fact, I had to replace all my floors in the house. You
Oh
know,
no.
so it was not nice. So I know how it is. So I'm just making sure that that doesn't happen again. But anyway, we
Hey, I
got you.
appreciate it.
We got you on right here. And how's the weather over there?
Actually, you see this turtleneck on, that's not a fashion statement. It's because hey, I'm gonna tell you something. This now I can't complain about the temperature because we still in like the 60s and 70s, well about 60 something. There the camera is.
Yeah, there we go.
But the wind, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it through my mic, but the wind is blowing up kind of fierce. So I was looking over the patio and the waves are looking similar to when we had that typhoon.
Oh
So,
man.
hitting a seawall and coming up. So one day we're gonna have to get some footage of Japan, on the show so you can kind of see what's going on. But right now, I don't want people panicking, seeing, these waves and thinking there's something about it. It's really nothing
Yeah.
going on. But everybody that, reached out, I had about 60, 70 responses on my Facebook posts and checking in, saying I was okay. We had a bad earthquake that hit mainland, which is significant, ways away from here, on the west side of Japan, over by Tokyo, and it was pretty bad. But it didn't hit this area down here. So thanking God for that, and also praying for those folks that were affected up there. But yeah, it's real over here on the island. But to tell you something, these Japanese over here are phenomenal in terms of when they know how to build a building. They aren't phased by a lot of this stuff that we would have some serious problems with. Like I said, 140, 150 mile an hour wind hit, a couple of
Yeah.
houses, in where we from, they gone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, it's like a wind tunnel. I should open up this window, but I did that in the bathroom. Just getting some air, in the
Yeah.
bathroom, and then that door sealed up on me, and my wife was like, "What's going on?" I said, "I don't know." But let me hurry up and shut one door, the other door open. It's serious. So
Yeah.
how to dynamically do some things here, but it's something. So,
Yeah. I want
but
to.
got a lot of stuff to talk about today, man. Got a lot of stuff to talk about.
I know you do. We were a round table last Friday. We went around the table like we always do, and this time around it's everybody else's opinion coming up. And the last thing that came up, Sharon Bell Moses brought it up about PTSD, and it was
Hmm.
about fireworks and how this is military USA and how the fireworks affected a lot of the veterans here, and
Yeah.
that was a touchy subject because we had a couple there. One guy said, "You know what? It's our freedom. We can do whatever we want to do. I'm not going to ban it because of this and that." But his wife is a veteran, and that affects all of us. So we were hearing both sides of the story, which all of them was really compelled on what they were feeling and everything. It was compelling with them saying that, and you could see the division and the mutual understanding. And after I got off that, I started thinking about that. I said, I know we touched base with that on the Impact Hour, and I had a guy on named Dr. Bush who studies that and comfort the military and stuff. Then we brought up the part about, well, it's not so much as a military deal. Now the poor kids going through school shootings suffer the same thing. So it was a little give and take, Nick and Bug, but it was towards the end of the show. So I really had to end it because that couple was, they were, they wasn't violent or volatile. They was just, they had very strong personality and strong opinions. Put it that way. So, but I feel for that. So they say yay or nay to fireworks. I went, if it's inside the city, no. Leave it alone. Texas is so big. We got country. We got a country within a country out there. We don't have to light up everything on the streets and all that stuff. So that's something we went down on and everything. And I said I'll definitely bring it up with Joseph, but I know he's got everything else going on. But that's one of the opinions that was very interesting Friday night.
Yeah, well, I know, my spin on it is simply, if you're gonna do fireworks, do them responsibly. Do them hopefully away from, homes. In San Antonio, I know that we have a love affair with fireworks. People, fire them off all the time, not even just on the 4th of July. It seems like almost every holiday, somebody's firing up some fireworks there in San Antonio. But I just think people just need to be mindful that, being military town USA, there are people that are suffering from PTSD. And I remember when I got out of the military back in 2007, we had a World War II veteran who was like a, mentor, family member of mine who was, homebound. And we had some, kind of young guys that I think were actually in the reserve, and they were shooting off, sound like some M80s up in the air. And I was at that time the neighborhood association president, and I lit off, man. I went off, man. I went over there, knocked on the door like I was the police, went off on them, and just let them know, man, you can't do that, because they were the M80s were going up in the air and they were blowing up over his house,
Yeah.
and which was right across the street from my house. So I went over there, and those that know the story, and I don't know, my auntie is listening up there, consider like my auntie. I didn't go over there friendly. I wouldn't recommend that people go over the way I did. But like I said, I don't know if I was triggered, from just that situation, but it was loud, man. It literally, I thought it cracked one of my windows. That's how loud the
Man.
sound was. So when I figured out which house was doing it, man, I went over there, went off on them, and there was no more fireworks over there, at least the exploding kind, but I wouldn't recommend you do that. I don't recommend that people go and confront folks, but I was in a kind of an official capacity at the time. But, it's really, people just have to be considerate. I don't want to take people's freedoms away, but I think it's actually illegal in most cities anyway.
It is.
A lot of the type of fireworks. So, stay with the law. A lot of times in San Antonio and other areas, the grass is pretty dry, and a lot of times if those fireworks go on somebody's house, they can cause fires, have caused fires. And when you mix alcohol with these things, they can be dangerous. So just, follow the law. In my opinion, follow the law. Be considerate. If you know there's some military personnel in your neighborhood, going out to the country somewhere. Go out somewhere, where it's okay, it's allowable, and they try to be a little concerned. I mean, people say they care about veterans, they care about service members, but actions speak louder than words. What do I say on the show all the time? Your actions speak so loudly, I can't hear a word you're saying. So if you're lighting off loud fireworks in the middle of the night, and some veterans are maybe suffering from PTSD, what are you really saying? You're supposedly celebrating the folks that actually went over there and took care of business, where those explosions meant something. It meant that some of them might not be coming back, or it meant that they lost a loved one, or they lost someone, they lost a brother or sister in arms. So, just gotta think, about the ramifications of what we do. And I think we really need to, understand that. Um, and I think we'd be a little better off, if we did. So that's my 2 cents on
Yeah,
it.
see, but
You know.
the thing about it is just not on Christmas Day and New Year's Eve. The fireworks stands open up on December 20th. So you got the
Yep.
20th through New Year's Eve, sometime New Year's Day with leftovers of that going on. And so yeah, so that's a whole new different subject we touch base on somewhere down the line. We'll try to cover some of that before July 4th come up, and the pros and cons, what we can do to protect each other. We need to do something on that to let everybody know, hey, this is military USA. Our veterans
Yeah.
are here. So all right. So I
Well,
know you got some things for us.
I do. I do. I got some things, and actually, on my mentorship group, I'm doing that through communication with the San Antonio alumni chapter and some of the other chapters I'll be working with. And the topic that we were talking about, unfortunately, and we have to talk about again, was a school shooting on January 4th, 2024, where unfortunately we had a situation that, again, another school shooting. But this one, it resonated in a different way. And I think we need to talk about some of the implications of this school shooting and something very disturbing that came out of it. And just kind of talking about it, doing my research. I try to research each one of these, kind of see the commonalities as things that we could do differently, what we can, what we could try to help the teens and the youth that I work with to try to, see what they can do to neutralize some of these situations, especially in the case of bullying. So it came out that Dylan Butler, who was a deceased, who actually was pretty, from what I'm hearing or what I've read, was pretty relentlessly bullied since grade school, all the way up
Yes.
to his I guess would be his junior or senior year, and being 17. And what the trigger for him apparently was his sister started to be bullied. Now, that in itself is problematic, and we need to talk about that for a second because, with bullying, you really need to understand something. Kids nowadays don't have the social skills that we had back in the day. So this isn't a situation where, and then also the world is a little different. You might have got bullied while you were at school, but when you go home, you're pretty safe. You make it to your neighborhood, you make it to your home, you're good. These kids can be bullied 24 hours a day. They can be bullied through cyberbullying, they can be bullied in school, so it's a little more intensity. And then, you had things like, the pandemic where a lot of kids were, behind computers and not able to get the social, skills, education that they normally would have, exposure, practice, dealing with things. And, it's an issue. It's an issue that we're dealing with and we're working with and we're trying to build on and recover from. But this situation I want to talk about a little bit because when I did my research on this one, I found out that not only was there some serious warning signs, some things that were missed, but again, the parents unfortunately didn't have any idea. Dad was a pretty prominent person in the community. Didn't know how bad things were getting. So again, we talk about on the show all the time with the youth. Take time to find out what's going on with your child. Don't assume that everything is okay. Don't assume that because they're not talking about it that that there's nothing going on. If he's been relentlessly bullied since grade school all the way up, through high school, and I guess the parents had tried to do some things, but you've got to put really some time and attention on your child nowadays.
Yeah.
If they're being bullied, if you even think there's a possibility with that, because, and this is what I want to highlight, there seems to be a culture now that's developing that goes all the way back to 1999. So 1999, if everybody remembers what happened, that's when Columbine happened.
Yes.
And the two shooters that were really, there were more than two shooters, but I believe there were more than two shooters But the two names that I want to focus on, it was Eric Harris and Dylan Klebo. So I think you kind of can see where I'm going with this a little bit. Dylan Klebo had obviously had the same first name as this shooter, Dylan Butler. Dylan Klebo died at the scene the same way Dylan Butler did. I'm not sure if it was. Now I'm not. I have to go back. I don't remember if Dylan Klebo was killed by police or if he died by suicide. But you got to take a look at the name, the similarities here, and we can look this up. I'll give where I got this information from. But Dylan Klebo had the same song on his website that he did before the Columbine shooting as Dylan Butler had on the TikTok picture that he put out there before he did the school shooting that he did. And the song was called Stray Bullet. It's by a German band, KMFDM. And it's a German group. And the name translated stands for No Pity for the Majority. Now, if you look at the name of this group, it has kind of like a Naziistic feel to it. So take a look at it. The lyrics in the song go, "I'm your worst nightmare. I'm your worst enemy." Okay, so the trend, the dangerous trend here is that it's kind of like becoming for some folks, for the bullied, the introverted, the kids that having some hard times at school. If they're not, there seems to be a subculture or a culture developing that these folks are like heroes, anti-heroes to a certain group of people, and they're starting to emulate some of these shooters. And I think it's something we have to pay attention to. We have to be mindful of, and start paying attention to the music that your child is listening to. Start paying attention to some of the things that they're embracing if they're going through some of these issues, because this subculture has been going on and developing for some time now, and it's almost like these kids, some of them anyway, are starting to be kind of radicalized, and they have kind of like this group affiliation to to this precedent. So unfortunately, there's a tradition that started with Dylan Klebo, and now you've got another Dylan Butler, and I believe there are some other Dylans that have done some school shootings too. So I'm actually going to start doing the research on that. I was told that to kind of look into the name, and I've been starting to pull that together. But I just want people to understand that this subculture is dangerous. It may not just be limited to school situations. We have a tinderbox in the United States right now with all kind of issues with the war over in Gaza. We've got the radicalization and the extremists on the pro-Israel and the extremists on the pro-Palestine side. We've got the fragmentation and the extremists on the political side between the right and the left. So we got to understand that this is just one other thing that we have to pay attention to, be mindful of, and at least be aware of, that there's a subculture now in the folklore. And you can take a look at this article. It's on the Messenger news article. You take a look at it. It'll go into more detail and just kind of get educated on it. And something else to watch out, unfortunately, for the kids in the States. When you've got that child that's introverted, that's being bullied, make sure that they don't have access to firearms. They have the ability to talk to someone, somebody talk to them, trying to let them know that, hey, we're going to do something about the bullying situation. Most schools have policies, serious policies that have to be enforced, and you just have to push it. You can't leave it alone and hope it gets better. That's not the wrong thing to do with bullying. You can't just leave it alone, hope it gets better, because unfortunately, this thing is horrible and continuing to grow and get worse. So since 1999, just a couple of statistics, there's been over 360,000 students that have been exposed to gun violence in schools. 360,000. Now, Of course, I didn't want to get too much into it, but I'm going to talk about the response. So we got the response from, the Biden administration, the press. I think the press secretary put some comments out there about how this needs to be addressed and enough is enough. I think that it was, pretty on point in terms of trying to do a call to action. But then take a look at, and everybody look at it for themselves. Look at the previous President Trump's response to the situation. Take a look at it. What did he say? He said essentially his sympathies go out to the families, but the family affected, but we have to get over it.
Yeah, right.
We have to get over it. I didn't say it. Just look at it for yourself. So look at the extreme. We got a cult following of school shooters forming, potentially, right? Definitely seems to be some correlations there at least. And then we've got somebody saying, oh, my sympathies to the family, but we've got to get over it. We haven't even addressed it yet. How are we going to get over it? We're still addressing, right?
Yeah.
So this is who a large amount of people want to possibly still keep on the ballot for with their own individual reasons. But I'll say this: if you're not addressing the needs of the kids, if you're not addressing our most important recess, you're not addressing nothing at all. You have no political worth if our children are not protected. Now, I know the border is an issue. I know there's other things that are a focus, but 360,000 kids affected by gun violence since 1999, and we have to get over it. I think that's the wrong response. I think that's the wrong response. And I think that's the type of leadership that comes from somebody who's incompetent. So I'm off my soapbox with that. But take a look at it. Take a look at this information. And, if anybody has a counter argument, has anything they want to say, bring to the table, let's bring it. Bring it all the way up until the election time so we can talk about it. But I'm going to tell you something. If you bring something and you call into the show, if you write something in, be ready to defend it with more than just your opinion. Because when I respond, I'm going to be responding with evidence. I'm going to be responding with research. I'm going to respond with facts. I'm going to be responding with dates. So bring that to the table. I'm going to tell you right now, if not, I don't want to Cat Williams you, but, you will get Cat Williams.
Yeah.
Because I'll call you out. I've been to it, first off, before you do anything, go down there and visit Robb Elementary School and tell me what you feel when you go in that area. Tell me what you think when you see that community that is still permanently broken from the loss there, and still trying to get some semblance of healing back together. So, we can't just get over it. We're still getting through it.
Through it, yes.
So,
just to piggyback off that, a new law in Illinois, they banned assault rifles. One of the first states that decided to do that. That's a start.
Very good.
That's a start.
That's
to
a
go.
start.
Yeah.
I mean, we have some states that are starting to get it. The red flag laws have to. And there's some folks that are putting some real teeth into the red flag laws, where people can be proactive instead of reactive. That where weapons can be confiscated till someone can be deemed mentally sound enough to get those weapons back. Nobody wants to keep anybody's weapons. Nobody wants that. If you are of sound mind.
Right.
Now, my question is, why do we need such, military grade style weapons in the community? Why do we need that? I mean, if you think about it, I'm in a society now, we don't have those type of weapons, in the community, and we don't have those type of problems. When was the last time there was a mass shooting in Japan? There might have been a shooting, but when was the last time there was a mass shooting in Japan by the citizens of Japan? You're going to be hard pressed because it's not the culture. And we have to address the culture. Now, people want to talk about, if not the guns, well, I tell you what, if you don't have access you're not going to have the problem. And in the Second Amendment, they talked about Biden and, and not thinking he has a good response, but he said, if you look it up, his response to using the Second Amendment to guarantee our access to assault rifles.
Yeah.
And what he said is, if it is, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said, if it is to protect you from the government, which is what, what the argument was back then when the Second Amendment was written, and the technology back then was a musket, I'm adding that. If it's the case that an AR or M16 or whatever is to protect you from the government, you're going to be overwhelmed immediately. What's an M16 or AR going to do to a tank? If you need any example of that, just go back to Waco.
Yeah.
They had the same things. They were armed to the teeth. And what happened to Waco? So stop it. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? I see all the little logos and all that stuff about, under, out of my, give me liberty or give me death or what the logo is. I forget the logo they have, out of my cold, dead hands, whatever the case may be. If it gets to that, don't think for 1 second that it can't get to that. And you're not going to be able to do anything about that with no AR, no MP15, whatever. Are you serious? Do you know what the technology that we have? Yeah, I'm not going to go into it, but you might want to, assess what you're really trying to do. You would have a better chance voting the right people in the office and being, active in your community. Because if you ever become an enemy of the state, I don't think you want to be that.
Yeah.
I really don't think you want to be that.
I'm gonna let some of the listeners know they're listening to. I'm getting text message. They're listening to it on the radio station. For some reason, Facebook won't allow them to get in, but they're switching over to YouTube and Twitch. And over here on YouTube, Mr. Washington said, all things change when prayer is taken out of school. Then he said, old school parents want to know who you hung out with. You didn't lock your doors back in the days. And also he said, what music we're listening to. That does, because remember, I remember growing up, we never locked our door. Didn't have to.
I remember falling asleep on the back porch with the door open and the screen, just a screen door.
Yeah.
Just, that's what we could do. Going to sleep, listen to the crickets. I was, just that peace that you get. And I can say where I'm at now, we can do that. But
yeah.
I'm in Japan. You know what I'm saying? It's a different situation. I know my heart rate has gone down significantly. My stress level has dropped off significantly, and it's a shame that we all can't live like that. But when you flood the street with military-grade weapons, and you flood the streets with mentally ill people, you cut the mental health supports while you still cry that it's a mental health issues, you're going to have some problems. And the culture, the mindset, of not caring. I mean, the village concept, where is it right now?
Yeah.
Where is it where we care about our neighbors? And I'm not talking about just the one possibly to your right and left. I'm talking about the whole block.
Yes.
The neighborhood that I grew up in, the majority of my positive experience in life was in Auburn Hills and Grand Rapids, Michigan. And we knew each other. We knew who was supposed to be in the neighborhood, who wasn't, whose kids were whose, where they were supposed to be, what block they were supposed to be on, what time they were supposed to be in, who they supposed to be hanging with. Like Craig said, we knew the families. The families knew each other. We loved hanging out in the neighborhood, because if somebody was cooking, you could eat at 2 or 3 houses.
Yeah.
It's wonder why we big as a house, man. Halloween, it's just, I wish we could get back to that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it's going to take. I think part of it is going to be, we're going to have to stop allowing our political system to fragment us into right or left, and remember that it's supposed to be a republic. And we may not agree all the time, but we should be able to agree on one thing. We all want a better quality of life. Now, how you envision that is how you envision that. But we should be able to work together. Like I'm seeing over here, we may not be the exact same culture, but I think Abraham Lincoln said it was our diversity that was our strength. But there's one thing that makes that work: a mutual respect for each other.
Yeah.
You've got to have it. I gotta, even though you may not look like me, I gotta respect your difference and you gotta respect mine. And then we can learn from each other because every culture has something that we need. But if you don't respect, and it's funny because I used to hear it in church all the time. That person that you didn't like, that person that you didn't deal with, God invested something in them that you were supposed to get.
Yep.
So that culture that we bring, think about it. Imagine if African American folks, if we stopped contributing to the United States society, what would it look like? What would it look like? It wouldn't be good at all. The stock market would collapse, especially from the entertainment sports side, even the academic side. There's a confidence, the political side. Imagine if the Latino, Hispanic folks stop contributing. What would happen? And I think what we got to understand is that when you cause this fragmentation, you cause this animosity amongst each other, it doesn't do anything but cause hatred, further alienation, and it makes us weaker. It weakens the fabric of our community. And then you've got all these weapons floating around.
Yeah.
And you wonder why. You wonder why we have all the problems we do. Stop it. You don't have to wonder. Just look in the mirror. What do you feel about somebody who looks different than you? And why do you feel that way? Is it because of a stereotype or is it because of something personally that happened to you? And if it's personally something that happened to you, is it that individual or is it in mass? If you think all of one people or a particular people is one thing or another, that's probably the problem right there. Because there's bad people in every race. Some of the dirtiest, meanest people actually look like you, most likely. Those are the ones that are going to stab you in the back. At least other cultures, if I know they're going to stab me in the back, I kind of expect it.
Yeah.
I see that coming. It's the one closest to you that I think is even dirtier.
Yep.
Because they are going to get closer to you. You know what I mean? So we got to stop looking at, somebody's wrong just because they're from a different ethnic group. They're wrong because they don't think the way I do. Maybe we need to figure out why they think the way they do, and then try to figure out how to work with them instead of they're my enemy. Because trust me, there's some real enemies out here, and they're waiting for that way in. You know what I'm saying? They're waiting for us to weaken enough until they can do their thing. And then it's going to be time like in 9/11. Remember that?
Yeah.
9/11 when everybody, if you're an American, everybody was talking to you then. People that would never talk to you before was talking to you then. How we doing? I done passed you 8 times in the mall. You ain't never said hi to me, but how we doing? Because you see me on the phone and you wondering if somebody about to run in this mall and start firing everybody up. Or a plane's dropping from the sky. You remember that?
Yeah.
You remember that slogan they used to say, lest we forget. We never forgotten. Talk about 9/11. Well, since it's never forgotten, remember the mindset we had when we were under attack. Remember that mindset. Don't forget that as well. You can remember, the animosity. You can remember the anger, but also remember how scared everybody was that you didn't know where the enemy was.
And that's scary.
So the only way you're not going to know who the enemy is or was or whatever is that you get to know who your neighbor is now. maybe.
Yeah,
But what was that movie that just came out? It's on Netflix right now. The End of the World, something like that. It's a new. Oh no, it's not the end of the world. I have to look that up. I have to look it up. But let's move on. But it's got some really good points in this movie.
I think.
So I'm gonna have to point it out so we can all check it out. I'd like the viewers to kind of let us know what they think about it. I saw it. I thought it was very well done.
Yeah,
Uh,
I saw it
let's
the
talk
other
about
day.
this movie.
I'm trying to see if I could pull it up. But yeah, I watched it the other day, about 2 weeks ago, and it was
Yeah,
it was that time when some type of war was going on. Nobody knew what was going on. This guy went back to his house. It was rented out as a Airbnb. Is that the one you're talking
yeah,
about?
yeah. That's the
Yep,
one.
yep.
You
That
can,
that
if you can think of the name of it, that'll keep me from going crazy right now a little bit.
I'm looking for it right now. We don't want you to go crazy, brother.
Yeah, I'm trying not to. I could counsel myself, but I'm trying to figure it out right now.
Cause I
Never counsel myself. Always get
oh
help.
here it is.
Get
Leave the world behind.
That's it. Leave the world behind.
Behind.
Check that movie out. Check
Yeah.
it out, please. It is it's a phenomenal movie, and I'm not saying it just because Barack Obama helped to write it.
Also, another good movie to see that I seen is called Torn, the Dark Bullet.
Mm.
That is an eye opener right there. I watched that the other day, and I'm telling you, you think where we at right now, it's a lot going on that we're not even scratching the surface of going on in all the little small communities throughout the United States on how everything is still set in its old ways and people still do the same old thing. Yeah.
Well,
So
I'll put it like this. It's a dangerous thing when a society doesn't evolve.
yeah,
Because if it doesn't evolve, there's only one alternative to what's going to happen. And I think we know what that is. Just like a person, if a person doesn't evolve, what happens?
yeah,
So the way our bodies are designed, the way our mind is designed, you need to keep it moving. You need to keep thinking. You need to, it's okay to stay in place in terms of some of your core values and things of that nature. But if you don't keep moving, you become stagnant. Things die.
yep,
If you look at the plasticity of the brain, the more you stop using your brain, the more you get limited. As you get older, it stops working. Look at you can't you can't function. And I think some of these societies they stop functioning. So and they're being played because they know the limitations of their thought process. Change is bad in their mind, but change is coming whether you want it or not. So try to maybe affect the change in a positive way, embrace the change in a positive way, and maybe we can move forward.
yeah,
Because I keep hearing these sayings, and it's true. Democracy is a very, very fragile dream. It's a concept, and we're still perfecting it. Some of us have it more than others. Some of us never really had it in a true sense compared to others.
yeah,
But we've got to continue to stay in the fight, do what we can to continue to push his dream and evolve this dream. But my fear is that we're allowing in some mindsets, or some mindsets are scared of change and they're trying to revert back by any means necessary. And anytime you talk about doing away with the Constitution, one individual talking about doing away with the Constitution, I don't care if it's for one day, for 1 minute. Think about who the military really is responsible to listen to. Is it one person or is it to the Constitution? That's a little political science question for everybody.
yeah,
Is the commander in chief in charge or is the Constitution in charge? And what happens when the leader of the Constitution is outside of the direction or the authority of the Constitution? Then who is in charge? So just think about it for a second.
You know,
Since some folks say they're patriots, but they're willing to support somebody who is outside of the Constitution,
yeah.
then understand you can't be those two things. You can't be a patriot and then you're outside of the Constitution. You can't be.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up because I hear this, and this one guy, I just left him standing there when I came back with him. What I came back with, he sat there and said, "I am tired of government telling us what to do. That's why we need to elect these people in here." I said, "You realize the people you're electing in that you're tired of is the government, right?" He said, "No, it's not." I said, "So your congressman or congresswoman or senator is not the government?" No, I said, "Then who is the government? Let me know who the government is." They fall back this one all the time. I don't know why they do that. They go back to Nancy Pelosi. They bring up Hillary Clinton. It has nothing to do with going on right now. That's their fallback. Is that right there? I said, the government is telling you what to do, but you don't want to tell the government tell us what to do. But the people who is your mouthpiece is the government telling you what to do, and you listening to them and you doing what to do because I think Joseph and I, about a year ago, a little over a year, we brought up cult before it was even mentioned in mainstream America. And that's exactly what's going on.
Hey, hold on a second. Don't say we brought up Colt. Don't be full.
All right,
Don't
I
be
brought
pulling
it
me
up.
into your.
I brought. See
You
what I
brought
did.
up Colt.
What I did. I set up Joseph. I set him up. We
You
took a
did set
break,
him up.
and we came back. And I asked him. I said, "Give me the definition of a cult." He gave me the definition. I said, "Isn't that what we have right now?" You're right. I did. It was me. I brought it up. I take responsibility. But in that time,
Yeah,
no.
you gonna pull. You gonna say we brought it
Yeah,
up.
but
Look,
but at that time,
it is
nobody
what it
thought
is.
of it like that. Nobody didn't think of anything like that. And I brought. I said, "That's the beginning of a cult leader right there."
Well, you gotta look at it too. How many people have said it since we've said it?
Or a lot.
I'll say we. A lot. A lot of people have said it. Yeah, a lot of people have said it after we laid it out there. The definition of it. But then also, there's another show on Netflix. Netflix needs to cut us a check. By the way, we
Yeah.
keep referencing Netflix, so I would like to get a check from Netflix for this. But there is a show talking about the rise of a cult leader. And one of the ones, what was his name? The one that had everybody drinking the Kool-Aid and dying
Jim
and killing
Jones.
themselves? Jim Jones.
Jim Jones.
Look, we all heard about what happened with Jim Jones. But a lot of people don't know how Jim Jones started. See, that's the part you got to pay attention to. We know how the story ended,
Yeah.
but people have a short-term memory on how it started. Jim Jones was a social activist, a political activist. He was a religious activist. And he had a very attractive message in the beginning. He used the church. You talk about church hurt? Oh my goodness.
Mm.
He was one of the forefathers of church hurt in the highest form. But he also had a very attractive message in the community. And I'm gonna tell you something, one of the hardest people to fool in this country are old black folk. Why? Because instinctively, we can kind of see it coming. Not we, I guess I'm starting to become in that group now with my age, but the folks older than me, they can see it coming. There's an instinctive thing. It's a survival thing that we've developed over hundreds of years of seeing sneaky, conniving, racially motivated oppression type folk. And he was able to weasel in and fool even those folks. So as we sit on our high horse and think that, Trump is bamboozling all these folks, anybody can be bamboozled if the message is sweet enough to their ear.
Yep.
If you're addressing their fears, if you're addressing their phobias. And that's kind of what's going on. But then you got a dangerous thing when you got people that can galvanize the minds and the actions of people because you're playing off their playing off of their fears and telling them what they want to hear. and giving them that false sense of hope. But then they have to keep leveling it up. They have to keep leveling it up. So for Jim Jones's case, he then moved everybody to someplace in Africa, and when all the things couldn't keep leveled up anymore, he had to have one big thing. So that there comes the Kool-Aid, and then look what happens. So I guess my saying is right now, hey, when Trump pulls out that Kool-Aid, I hope nobody drinks, because it's the same mindset, it's the same situation, it's the same. If you look at it, look at it. How many times can you be lied to and still follow somebody? How many times can you keep falling for something because you think he's bringing something that he's never brought? He said he's going to make America great again, but all he's done is make things weaker again. And you say that, he made the economy so much better. Anybody knows anything about economics, it's the previous president, the things that he sets in place that causes the economy to do what it's doing then. Do you really think that Trump had anything to do with making the economy better? Or was it Barack Obama's policies that then moved forward and we're starting to kick in that made the economy better? Do the research. Don't just look at it and hear what somebody said. Do the research. Go back a few other presidencies and see if it's, every president takes credit for the economy. Every president does, but half of the stuff that Trump claimed that he did, it was just as sensationalist. So yeah, you got a check in the mail when Trump was president, right? But then look at the cost of things. How quickly did that money go? What did it really do? Now prices were lower, but hey, when you got health care guaranteed, do you think that maybe helped the economy a little bit? The affordable health care plan? But then they want to call it Obamacare when it was bad, things being said. But the real name is the affordable health care. What's wrong with affordable health care? Socialism. Well, so is Social Security. So is that. So we got to start using this and start thinking about how it's playing out nationally and internationally. Now, if we want to do away with Social Security and all the other programs, because that's what some people actually wanted to do, they don't want to admit to it. And Biden called it out, didn't he say that?
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, they want to do away with it. No, we don't. No, we don't. Then he showed those folks that wanted to do it, they wanted to back away. See, we've been given a whole party a pass on actually putting forward actual legislation that's going to make a difference. You may not like, and I'm not saying I'm Democrat, I'm not saying I'm Republican, I'm not saying anything. I just want you to look at the parties and see what they put forward. And who's just saying no, and then putting together these, saying they have a plan, but when you look at whatever plan they have, it doesn't play out. It doesn't mesh. So if you don't have a plan and all you can do is sharpshoot, you're really not doing nothing. You're the problem. You're getting paid a whole lot of money to just talk about the situation and not do anything about it. I'm a mental health practitioner. I'm doing my job. I can talk about it. You can go to BetterHelp, look up my name, and you can see how many people I've helped. That I can talk about it. I got evidence. I'm constantly reading and trying to find the newest and greatest thing. This is a Psychology Today. If you can see it here. But anyway, I have to cut this thing off. But anyway, so you can see more than the background. But if you're not actively engaged and actually doing something, why are you even saying anything? How are you still up there? But I get it. We're we got people like Santos that were able to stay in so long after being proven to be a crook and a criminal that they dang near had to drag him out of Washington. Where me or you lie about everything that we accomplished and did, we're gonna be fired on the spot.
Yep.
So how are we not holding our politicians accountable to what we can't do on a job? That's the part that cracks me up, man. It's like, you want to wonder why we're in the situation we're in. It's because we letting people get away with way too much in higher positions.
Yep.
If you don't have a plan that we can understand, you're the lawyer. We put you in office. You getting this nice salary that you keep getting a raise on. Government shut down, but you don't shut down. That's so that you can keep working,
And get paid.
but you're not working. Yeah, and get paid. But you're supposed to be. So it blows my mind that we could actually face another government shutdown.
Which is coming up.
How is that even possible? How is that even possible? Because we're not holding folks accountable. So how do we hold folks accountable? Your vote, your conversations like this, but it blows my mind, Ron. Nobody wants to talk. Nobody wants to. We get a lot of comments, but we don't get anybody who wants to give us a counter argument on the show. I don't know. They must be scared of you, Ron. I don't know what's going on, man. They don't want. But see, hey, I'm ready for it. Let's talk about it. I stopped arguing on Facebook, and all that, because I wasn't getting paid for it. So if you want to debate, let's run it. Let's put it on this show,
Yeah.
so you can see. I don't have all the answers, but what I will do is go and research the ones that I have
Right.
and put forth the best argument for what I believe is the way we should go on certain things. And then I think that's what once we have an education. See, here's the thing about democracy. Democracy doesn't work without an uneducated with an uneducated population. So you have to be educated. You have to educate yourself. You gotta, know the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Actually read, learn, understand, and then you start to get some vision. And then you can hold folks accountable. The fact that we are still struggling with some basic things like gun control, it doesn't look good internationally. Can you imagine what other countries think about us shooting up our own people, not protecting our kids? Think about it for a second. What do we look like to the rest of the world?
The Wild Wild
And
West.
well, I'm gonna tell you, when I flew into Japan, one of the flight attendants, we were talking about what was going on and all that, and they're asking how long I was gonna be here, and I said I'm gonna be here for an extended period of time, doing the work that I'm doing. Um, he said, "You're gonna like Japan. We're still a civilized society."
Mm.
And he kind of stepped back, like he didn't mean to offend me. And I was like, "Hey, I'm not going. I can't be mad at you for telling the truth.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I'm passing kids, little kids, walking long ways to school. Early L, walking to school. Remind me back in the day when I was in elementary school and I could walk all the way down to Huff Elementary School. But when I was in San Antonio, we stayed in a nice middle to upper middle class neighborhood. I would let my daughter go down to the end of the cul-de-sac without supervision. And we were only 4 or 5 houses from the end. What happened?
Yeah.
So that's what we need to look at. That's what we need to look at in the States. And, we got some work to do. Even though I'm overseas, I know that you're overseas. Yeah, I'm overseas, but I'm very well invested in the States.
Is it safe to say with you being overseas, some of the stuff, this one song comes to mind. I can see clearly now. The rain has gone.
I listen to that song. Yeah, listen.
Yep.
I do see clearly.
Mm-hmm.
I do see clearly. One of the things, and I'm going to talk about this, and I was going to do this on the show or a YouTube channel post. I'm going to drop it here now. Until you've walked around in a country that's never seen chattel slavery, you can't see it. You can't understand it. When I walked around the Shuri Castle, thousands, of years old, I think 1,500, 1,500 years old, somewhere in there. Never seen chattel slavery. It does something to you. The things that we go through, the mindset that people have, how we're responded to in the United States as being a person of color. One of my mentors has me looking at this thing called moral injuries. If you want to know what a moral injury is, I can give you a long definition, but I'll just tell you what it is. Most black folk or people of color will understand it right off the bat. It's when you walk into the mall and you probably make 5 to 6 times more than this person that you walk past, but you walk past and they clutch their purse close to them.
Yes.
That's a moral injury. You got all these credentials, you got all this alphabet by your name, but you go to do your job and a person wants to ask you, oh, so where'd you go to school? When'd you graduate? Oh, you're a therapist. Oh, well, good for you. Well, you sure are articulate. Moral injury. You come in and you're doing your job, you're a supervisor. Somebody that didn't get the job that you got, constantly sharpshooting, questioning every decision that you make, passively aggressively making stupid comments, and you're supposed to not respond, because if you respond, you're the angry black person.
Exactly.
If you don't respond, you got to be a doormat. Moral injury. Well, Joe, you didn't benefit from affirmative action. You had good grades. You should be conservative. Well, my parents didn't donate $28 million to the campus, and all my dumb relatives can now go there to get less than a C average just because somebody was rich enough to donate half a wing of a school to the school. That's affirmative action too, isn't it? So if you're going to do away with part of it, why don't you do away with all of it? Oh, we can't do that. Well, that's different. No, it's not different.
Yeah.
It's not different at all. Either you got the grades, I got the grades, I had a decent GPA coming through, but I also understand the necessity and the need to give somebody else a chance because I understand the bias of tests.
Yep.
We got to understand, what we're dealing with, the moral injury, the things that we have to deal with on a regular basis from where you come from. It's interesting. I grew up partially in Flint, in Grand Rapids, Michigan. When I say I grew up in Flint, they're like, oh, wow, look what he did when he came from Flint.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of talented people, come from Flint. Just because the water was bad didn't mean that people weren't still making it before then.
That's true.
And then, then when they hear I come from, grew up in Grand Rapids, and the people that knew me from Grand Rapids were like, well, of course he was going to make it. His grandparents, they came from something. They came through something. They had to break that red line to get through that. So we have a lot of things that people make assumptions about us. And it's okay sometimes because I love to get underestimated. I love it.
Yeah.
But what I will tell the youth, I will say this. The one way to get around moral injury is to master something. One of the things I call this man MacGyver, the black MacGyver, because you're talking to a mechanical genius. Ron is a mechanical genius. He fixed a central air conditioner with a screwdriver and nothing else. I've seen it with my own eyes. So if Ron needed to right now, if he had to go out and do whatever he had to do, he could go out right now and make a living right now because of the talent, the things that he knows right now, hands down. No matter where I'm at, you drop me anywhere in the world, I'm gonna be able to eat. Why? Because I have a master in this mental health thing, and it's highly in demand, and I can get paid. I know how to get paid anywhere in this world. Do what I do because I've studied, I've mastered this thing. God has opened up that door. Let me make sure I say that. God has opened up this door, revealed to me what my talents and abilities are, and I cultivated and invested in it and worked at it. That's what we have to do to overcome more injuries. But don't think for a second we still don't need to understand how those more injuries affect us. They affect us in the workplace. They affect us day to day in our heart rate, our stress level. And when you walk around in a country, when I say I can see clearly now, when you walk around in a country that doesn't know chattel slavery, and yeah, they might look at you a little different because you look different
Yeah.
over here. But you don't have that condemnation or the limitation of your of what they think you can do just because of the color of your skin. It's an amazing feeling that I wish everybody that looked like me got to feel. Where you don't have to worry about if the police pull behind you. You don't have that stain of racism the way the stain is now. Don't get me wrong. It's not. People have their way of being passive aggressive, but I would deal with passive aggressive than overt racism any day. Any day. But as long as you know a little Japanese, it's amazing what happens. When I hit them with that konnichiwa, domo arigato gozaimasu, and they're like, "What? You took the time to know our language, a little bit of our language?"
Yeah.
You should see the difference. Now, you could be a multi-millionaire and move next to some folks, and they'll look at you like, "Oh Lord, he done came to our now we got to move to another. We got to move further out." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why people listen. I grew up around folks that look like me and folks that did look like me. I could care less of trying to move towards a certain culture. I'm moving towards a certain lifestyle where I don't have to worry about my child moving through the society, can network and grow up, can not have the limitations set on her. And if Japan is where I had to go, well, hello, how you doing? Konnichiwa. And that's that education and understand that gift that allows us to do that.
Yeah.
It hurts me to think about what kids are going through back in the States because I was a school counselor by trade and then a LPC as well. So it bothers me. I come from a family of educators. And it bothers me. I know the history. I know back in the 70s that Japan came over to the United States to see how we were educating our youth. And now look at how things have changed. I'm talking about school shooters.
Yeah.
Craig pointed out, like we pointed out in the show, when did school shootings in mass start happening? After they pulled God out of the schools.
Exactly.
That's when I'm gonna cut right to the chase. So common sense would say, if school shootings started when you pull God out of the schools, why don't you start putting them back? I know, but how about that constitutional change? Why don't we put that up to the Supreme Court? You know, you reverse Roe v. Wade, okay, why don't you reverse that one? I know some people might not like it and all that, but that's okay. That was one of the worst mistakes we made. Because that prayer, that time where you got to pray together, might have been the only time some folks got that opportunity.
Right.
It's hard to come into a school, I think, and shoot up the school after you just got through praying together. But somewhere, somehow, we got the bright idea to take God out of the schools. Well, if you take God out, what moves in? There you have it.
Yep. Exactly.
There you have it. Now, that's coming from a therapist. Right? Now, if you want to talk a little more with our Christian life coach, you can reach out to Craig Washington. Go to the website. I'll be more than happy to, and listen, if you want to debate it, go ahead. I'm going to hit you with the facts, though. Look at the rates. And I know they're going to say, oh, it's other factors, socioeconomic, yeah. Other demons. You know, when I was in the military, I'm going to just share this and people will understand. Yes, I'm a therapist, but I'm a Christian. I was at Fort Jackson. I'll never forget it. I was sitting there and I was looking at all these basic training battalions at Fort Jackson, and I was jogging, which I don't do right now, but I was jogging in. There was this big tower, and by that tower it has a little slogan, "A victory starts here." Now I'll never forget. It was just me and this tower, and I looked around at all the battalions, all of them, and something hit me and said, "So is the kingdom of Satan." Each one of these battalions have a particular area, a particular thing they're training these soldiers for. And then when they get trained, they go out and then they go to their AIT, their advanced individual training, and they have a specific area. But back in the day, in a wartime, that might have been all the training they got right there, which is infantry. And each one had a particular unit, a particular slogan, a particular area that they were going to. So it hit me that so too is the spiritual war. Each one has an area, be it attacking marriages, attacking children, attacking the mindset, attacking your health. So it's a war going on. You know those old spirituals? I'm not going to have to study war no more.
Yes.
Yeah. It's serious. So now we've got all these demonic forces being trained for us to fight. But I will tell you, we are more than able to fight. But you got to understand, you got to fight with two things: your mind and your spirit. And you got to follow that chain of command. And for me, I know when I call on the name of the Lord and get into the Word, I got strength there. I got wisdom there. I got guidance. And then you couple that with education, and you understand that those two things aren't opposite each other. They're very much connected to each other. And you figure out how to apply that. Then you got something to work with. Because there's some things the books can't help you with, that spirituality has to help you with. Reading Proverbs and Psalms. Proverbs for knowledge, Psalms for peace, guidance. And then understanding what you're dealing with. The psychosis of whatever you get, which, is both spiritual sometimes as well as psychological. Could also be physical. Depends on what happens. If you have some type of injury, if you use some type of drug, if you have some type of physical impairment, your mind's not going to operate correctly. You need to understand how it's affected. How you came up, the traumas, the conditioning. It's somewhat complicated. But don't just sit and stew in it. Think it's going to get better without talking to somebody. So you got the team there, Martha Rice. You got Craig Washington, Dr. C, Tomas. Call them. I'm very busy. Thank God.
Yeah.
Better busy than broke.
You just got a comment. Just got a comment right here. What you just said from Cheryl. She says the power of agreement prayer at the beginning of school sent out such a powerful energy spirit. It was difficult for negative energy, evil, to come in.
Come on. I mean, there it is. There it is.
Yeah.
And I guarantee, if you look at the study, I guarantee if you study schools of faith versus just general public schools, I guarantee you're gonna see a difference in those active school shooters. Yes, there have been one that I know of.
Yeah.
But other than that, I can't think of too many other schools that were faith-based that all that was going on.
Yeah.
Why? Because you're getting that instruction, you're getting that prayer, you're getting that anointing, and you're getting that protection.
Yep.
So That's it. So I know people want to call in and want to complain. Or, hey, call in,
Yeah,
write in.
the line is
I don't
open.
mind the difference of opinion, hey, but the fact of the matter is, the truth is the truth, and it needs no witness. You know what I'm saying? It's just is. So I talk to folks all the time that don't have a particular faith or whatever, and that's okay. I can hit you. I can give you the psychological tools and things of that nature. But I would tell you, uh, the recovery time and the success rate for people that have faith, it's no question who does better,
Yeah.
and that's just a proven fact. Look it up. That's why we're trying to do in mental health now. It's full. It's all, wellness. But we're talking about all areas: spirituality, physical health, and psychological. It's a reason why.
Yep.
So that applies in school as well. So shout out to Michelle for listening. She's one of the faithful, one of the most talented singers there in the San Antonio area. Go and support her group. She can blow. I'm talking about Stephanie Mills level type of performance. I've heard her hit those notes, man. I've heard her hit the notes. She can sing now, and we got a lot of talented singers. My boy Glenn, he's holding it down. One of the kings of karaoke over there. Just talked to him the other day. I'm not gonna tell the exact date, but sometime before this summer, another king is gonna show up back to San Antonio.
Uh-oh. Not
and
two
do
of y'all
his thing.
saying not prime time and showtime.
Hey, we might have to show up and show out a little bit. I ain't gonna say when, but
Yeah.
it may be popping up going on. So, definitely miss my San Antonio family over here. That's one of the things people say. What do you miss? I miss my folks, man. That's what I miss. That's what I miss
Yeah.
about San Antonio. So much love to the crew, the San Antonio family, the karaoke family, Eddie and Dee Dee. Shout out to them. Of course to the Brooks, to you guys. Ron, I feel like you're here with me, man. I talk to you all the time, so we're gonna kick it too when I get back there.
Yeah.
But everybody, Sharon, the eyes of the city. I get to see her on here, so she's doing her thing, and
Yeah.
Cheryl, everything. So
All
that's
right.
what it is.
All right, brother. We did all right. Just a little bit over, but that's all right because that's what we do.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Shout out to Grand Rapids too. I got some listeners, my hometown where I'm from. So much love to them. I'm hearing that Kentwood, they just lost power. I know they're like, how do you know what's going on all the way in Grand Rapids? Keep my ear to the ground and my eyes to the heaven. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you in Japan. You're not supposed to know
Yeah, I'm in
all this
Japan.
going on.
How you know? Hey, but you know what? They had to tell me. I ain't gonna listen. Somebody had to tell me that there was a earthquake in Tokyo from the States. So it's a weird situation.
I think that I text you when I heard it, and
Yeah.
I said, "Brother, you okay over there?" Because as soon as I heard it, the first thing I said was got on my phone to text you to make sure you okay, and you said, "Man, I slept through it. I ain't hear nothing going on."
I didn't hear a thing, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I had to go look outside. I'm like, what are we talking
Yeah,
about?
because I remember when I
Crazy.
texted you, we talked. You said, "Ron, that was the main island and everything. It wasn't here." But that's what family's all about. We look out for each other, and
That's it.
you can be halfway around the world. The love is still there.
That's it, man. That's it. And I just continue to pray for everybody here in the States every day. And my family, extended family, my San Antonio family, my Grand Rapids family, my family that's up in New York. Shout out to Amir. They got family abroad that's doing this traveling thing. Rondell and April, extended family. Family in Detroit area. Just everybody. My prayers over there. I hope that we, continue to grow and be covered by God's grace. And we're gonna keep doing what we're doing. And remember that action speaks louder than words, and your action speaks so loudly, I can't hear a word you're saying. So we're gonna wrap it up with that.
All right.
And unless you got anything else you want to add, man. No question. I got out of here without
No,
question.
I'm good. We're good right now. But
Okay, good.
we're gonna open things up in the next couple of weeks because I'm gonna force people to call in because Don't be scared. Joseph will not bite you, and I won't hang up
Hey,
on you.
only thing I'm gonna bite you with is knowledge. And if you present a question, a counter question, just be ready to back it up with more than your opinion, because I'm gonna back it up with more than mine. You know what
All
I'm
right.
saying? So, whatever it is, let's talk about it. And through discourse, communication, debate, whatever, we get knowledge.
Yeah.
And then once you know what the right thing to do is, then you're held accountable for it.
Amen to that. All right, my
All right.
brother. You stay safe over there.
All right.
Give my
God
love to
willing.
you, to your wife and your daughter, and we miss y'all. Can't wait to see y'all again.
All right. Hey, looking forward to seeing y'all and see you next week, as a matter of fact.
All right. Appreciate
On the TV, on this.
it. Yes. All right,
Yeah,
everybody.
God bless.
All right, bless you. That was Joseph Lee with Impact Counseling and Consulting Services live from Japan. We appreciate him coming on board and the things we've got going on. This DJ Ron G on WSN Radio. Just let everybody know that, yes, for some reason, Facebook, people was not able to tune into Facebook, but they were able to get on our YouTube channel, which I appreciate that. Mr. Washington, Miss Adams, and a few others out there. I appreciate y'all coming on. So we don't know what you do to fix that, but as long as you got other platforms to do, that's what we're gonna do. All right, this is DJ Ron G on